In life, things don't always turn out exactly as planned.
Slavery was abolished in the United States in 1865 to free the slaves. But Jim Crow laws quickly appeared to limit the freedom of black citizens. By 1900, the Ville became one of the few areas in St. Louis where African Americans could own property.
Blacks took this opportunity to create a neighborhood of their own. And by the 1920s and 30s, the Ville became one of the few areas in St. Louis where African Americans could own property.
But there were no schools.
After extensive lobbying by some of St. Louis's African American residents, Sumner High School was established in 1875, the first high school for African American students west of the Mississippi River. Sumner moved to its current location in 1908. A second school, Vashon, was opened in 1927.
And hospitals were segregated.
Although Phillips didn't live to see the hospital named in his honor, the Homer G. Phillips Hospital was opened in 1937 to serve the city's black population and enable African American physicians to gain staff privileges. Located at 2601 North Whittier Street in the Ville neighborhood, it was the only public hospital for African Americans in St. Louis, Missouri, from 1937 until 1979.
So how about business?
Well, we can start with Annie Turnbow Malone. In 1902, she moved to thriving St. Louis, where, with her 3 employees, they sold her hair care products door to door. She opened her first shop at 2223 Market Street and launched a wide advertising campaign in the black press and recruited many women whom she trained to sell her products. By the 1920s, Annie Turnbow Malone had become a full multimillionaire. In 1918, she established Poro College, a cosmetology school and center. The building included a manufacturing plant, a retail store where Poro products were sold, business offices, a 500-seat auditorium, dining and meeting rooms, a roof garden, dormitory, gymnasium, bakery, and chapel. It served the African American community as a center for religious and social functions. An orphan's home located in the historic Ville neighborhood was upgraded and expanded and renamed in the entrepreneur's honor as the Annie Malone Children and Family Service Center. As well as funding many programs, Turnbow Malone ensured that her employees, all African American, were paid well and given opportunities for advancement.
I see that Chuck Berry was a graduate of Poro.
Yes, and comedian Dick Gregory graduated from Sumner. Arthur Ashe, tennis pro, attended Sumner.
Many educators, politicians, and other black St. Louisans were inspired by the events in the Ville.
Teacher Julia Davis, entertainer Josephine Baker, opera singer Grace Brumby, boxer Sonny Liston, legislators John Collins Muhammad and Maxine Waters, to name a few. In life, things don't always turn out exactly as planned.
So it's ironic that in 1930, J.D. and Ethel Shelley, a black couple fleeing racially motivated violence, sought to buy the house at 4600 Labadie in 1945, not realizing that the house had a covenant that prohibited the sale of the house to anyone of the Negro or Mongolian race. The Shelleys were sued by their neighbor, the Louis D. Kramer family, to prevent them from buying the house. The trial court held for the Shelleys, but that decision was reversed by the Missouri Supreme Court in 1946. So the Shelleys appealed to the United States Supreme Court. Its May 3, 1948 decision rendered all racially restrictive covenants unenforceable on the grounds that enforcing them would violate the 14th Amendment.
The irony is that the decision had unintended consequences. It spurred large-scale white flight. Without racial restrictions, white families abandoned North St. Louis neighborhoods for the suburbs. This mass exodus drained the tax base in North City, Property values collapsed, and many black families left too. Between 1950 and 1970, the total population in the Ville dropped by nearly 38%. Greater Ville has suffered greatly from neglect and disinvestment, as both the white and black middle class virtually disappeared. Many urban poor relocated to this neighborhood after they were pushed out of areas such as Mill Creek Valley during the urban renewal period of the 1950s. Homes with restrictive covenants still in their deeds today remain vacant and dilapidated. In life, things don't always turn out exactly as planned.
On Easter Sunday, Bernie and I attended Mass at St. Matthew's the Apostle Church. We wanted to show our support for the church's effort at revitalization. During his homily, Pastor Father Matthew Rule gave an unequivocal Easter affirmation that God loves life. Resurrection, he said, is about life. What good is God when we are dead? Taste the resurrection in this world. Life is what God is all about. The resurrection takes place right here, St. Matthew's, right here in the Ville.
After the service, Father Rule told our group that the best way to start in revitalization was to participate and get to know the people. Well, I decided to join the choir, and John came along with me. It was a rich cultural experience.
There was no printed music. Songs were all learned by ear. I made recordings of the practices to help me learn how to do this. We also learned how to vamp, to repeat a musical phrase whenever the conductor felt it bore repeating to drive the song to its climax before letting it go.
We continued with the choir for a year until they began participating in services of other parishes to seek support. In preparation for one of the trips to another parish, our conductor said, "All right, black only." After being a part of the choir for a year, John and I were shocked, and in a very personal way felt what it must be like for blacks to be excluded so often by white America. The choir director then added, "If you don't have black, wear navy brown or something dark." We were so sensitive to race that we'd misunderstood. What a rich cultural experience it was to make new friends, to sing with them, and to learn how to respectfully understand each other.
Now remember, I was dressed in black, and therefore I was amused after the Mass when, because of my dark outfit, I was therefore addressed as Father.